Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. Thank you for taking time out of your day to stop by. I am grateful. I'm looking forward to hosting Stephen Jennings at Mindspeak today. It's at 5 o'clock at the Sankara, and I think it's going to be jammed. I have only got about 80 seats, I think. And going by the response from social media, it's going to be really busy. Very interesting man. Featured in the recently published book Bankers Who Changed the World, a pioneer of frontier capital markets, and now a big player in the African real estate space. And there's been plenty of noise and drama and interference, and I'm hoping he'll speak a little bit about that, because that will surely be interesting. If you don't know what Mindspeak is all about, there's a little teaser on the website and on Rich Wrap-Ups, What is Mindspeak? Do have a look. My piece over the weekend still applies. And, I wrote that sub-Saharan African currencies are in a bloodbath, which they certainly are at the moment. White House denied that President Obama said the strong dollar was a problem, and Bloomberg News earlier quoted a French official as saying Obama had made the comment. The president did not state that the strong dollar was a problem, the US official said. Now, the speed of retraction was quite interesting, but probably wanted to get the thought out there. Kenya Pix, who tweets all these wonderful photographs that we enjoy so much. Awesome view at the top of Mount Kenya. And indeed, it is awesome as the one yesterday that he posted. I'm reading Thomas Pynchon again, V, in fact. If they can get you asking the wrong questions, they don't have to worry about the answers. That's a quote from Pynchon, Gravity's Rainbow. And that's a fantastic book. And one of my favourite pieces from Gravity's Rainbow is actually a poem. Let me read it to you. I dream that I have found us both again, with spring so many strangers' lives away, and we so free, out walking by the sea, with someone else's paper words to say. They took us at the gates of green return, too lost by then to stop and ask them why. Do children meet again? Does any trace remain along the superhighways of July? Political reflections plunged into uncertainty. Turkey could face an early election. This is Reuters via Yahoo News. Turkey faced the prospect of weeks of political turmoil after the ruling AK party lost its parliamentary majority in weekend polls, dealing a blow to President Tayyip Erdoğan's ambitions to acquire sweeping new powers. Drove a stake through them, more like. Instead of a two-thirds majority, it wanted to change the constitution and create a new presidential republic. The AK party, while remaining the biggest party, failed even to achieve a simple majority. The outcome augurs weeks of unpredictability as parties vie to form a coalition in possible early elections. Erdoğan, in my view, has now peaked, I'm afraid, and given his abrasive nature, I cannot see him moving with dispatch towards a compromise. Put up a photograph of him that he posted on June the 4th. Turkey elections, a coalition looks likely, but what kind of coalition and how will it affect the war in Syria? That's a good point, because Erdoğan has been a prime mover of the attempt to topple Bashar al-Assad. The outcome of the Turkish election affects two pivotal issues facing the government in Ankara: its degree of involvement in the Syrian civil war and its relationship with the Kurds, both in Turkey and Syria. Turkey has played a central role in trying to overthrow President Assad since the Syrian uprising of 2011. The 510-mile Turkish border with Syria has never been entirely closed to armed opposition groups, including ISIS and Jabhat al-Nusra, the al-Qaeda affiliate. And that's a very important point because he's really been keen on toppling Assad, as has Saudi Arabia, obviously, amongst others. Badawi, age 31, listen to this, recalled that he was surrounded by a cheering crowd who cried incessantly, Allahu Akbar, God is greatest, during the whipping. All this cruel suffering happened to me because I expressed my opinion, Badawi wrote. Diaspora tax for Eritreans living in UK investigated by the Metropolitan Police, and that's sort of believable, frankly. The Queen shakes hands with Estefanos Habtemariam, the new ambassador of Eritrea. It was quite a grand photograph. I thought I might share it with you. Moving on, currency markets, well, we've been all over the shop. The euro got as high as 113.40 that I noticed, and it's now trading at 112.80. Dollar index has probably rebounded from the morning levels of 95.09. Japanese yen back at 124.47, and Swissy 0.9285. Pound flirting with the 153 level, 153.08. Aussie 0.7661. India rupee 63.995. South Korean won when I checked 1120.41. Rial 311.17. Egyptian pound 763.01. And the rand last trading 1252.64. Dollar index, I'll put up a 3-month chart. I remain bullish the dollar, extremely bullish, and I think, but it's been very, very whippy. The market changes its view on a dime. Euro dollar, put up a 1-month chart. This is interesting. We might be running out of steam here. 112.76 last, and it's very correlated with the German Bund. Where the Bund goes, if the Bund falls in price, yields go up, it supports the euro and the obverse and the reverse, the other way. Crude oil last trading at $58.42 when I checked, but go back to that story from yesterday about the algorithm. They've been managing that price in a $58, $62, $63 range. But I think, the fundamentals really demand a lower price, I'm afraid. Gold last trading at 1176.32. Coming to sub-Saharan Africa, the question people are asking is no longer why should we invest in Africa. Now people are asking how do we invest and with whom. That was Mindy Schilverstein, Managing Director of the Milken Institute, summing it up. President Jacob Zuma apparently has given no valid justification as to why he is unable immediately to release the report of findings into the 2012 Marikana massacre the High Court in Pretoria heard on Monday. There's no justification that's been given to why we can't have it now, except I'm busy, don't rush me, said the advocate Dali Mapofu during the urgent application of his clients. Angola's president's visiting China to sign economic agreements, and cap in hand, no doubt. Jose Eduardo dos Santos is visiting his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping in Beijing to sign economic agreements, state-run news agency Angop reported. The two leaders begin 3 days of discussions on Tuesday to sign accords in financial, agricultural, education and energy fields, Angop said, citing Foreign Affairs Minister George Chikoti. China imports about half of Angola's oil output, according to trade figures. Of course, they've taken a massive beating with the lower oil price and obviously are looking to draw down on some credit. Congo cuts its growth forecast as power cuts dent mining production. The DRC central bank cut its 2015 growth target as falling metal prices and power shortages slow the expansion of mining output in Africa's biggest copper producer and top cobalt exporter. GDP, listen to this though, is expected to expand 9.2% compared with an earlier forecast of 10.3%, the Central Bank of Congo said in a statement on its website. I'll put up a photograph of Kinshasa taken on June the 2nd and posted by Luis Marie Nindora. Agence France Presse tweeted French and Malian troops drive across dry Foggy Bean Lake near Timbuktu, Mali during a joint op. South African all shares up now just 3.72% this year. Egyptian pound, dollar rand is at 12.5261. The Egyptian pound is at 763.01, but it's really being managed. The Egyptian stock market is down 2.845% so far this year. But Sisi is very talented at managing the stock market and the capital markets. Nigeria buys time to boost Naira liquidity on JP Morgan reprieve. Nigeria's new administration was given more time to inject life back into currency trading and avoid being cut from JP Morgan and Chase's emerging market bond indices, tracked by more than $200 billion of funds. So that's a positive outcome. A decision on whether to remove Nigeria from JP Morgan's GBI EM indices will be finalized in the coming months to give the government time to settle in. Africa's largest economy has a 1.8% weighting in the gauge. Obviously, if they get ejected from that gauge, it's going to cause terrible problems and a big selling pressure on the Nigerian markets. I wrote over the weekend in that article I wrote about the currency bloodbath. Over in Nigeria, one thing that will define the Buhari administration is how quickly the president steps up and devalues the Naira. The finger in the dike strategy is running on empty, and the president needs to bite the bullet and take the Naira down big, and probably to somewhere like 275, which is an overreach, but will allow the Naira to then find its own, will allow the market to find the equilibrium price for the Naira. Nigeria all shares down 3.078% this year and is at 10-week lows. Ghana Stock Exchange is at 11-month highs. It's up 4.95% so far this year. Accra's Jamestown ravaged after an unmaintained Korle Lagoon sifting station was deluged. This is Chris Sewonka. And what I like about these Twitter photographs, they're so real time. You get an opportunity to see exactly what's going on in real time, which is something that I like. A spate of kidnappings in the Mozambican capital, alleged police involvement in organized crime and routine harassment of foreigners are giving President Filipe Nyusi what he describes as sleepless nights. Kidnapping of a man this week in the capital Maputo, which is a wonderful city, but pretty scary, isn't it, when you read this, was the 9th this year. After 30 in 2014, Nyusi took office in January in Mozambique. Has indicated he's had enough. Let me put up a photograph that I took of a Maputo evening nearly a year ago, and it's so gorgeous. Maersk targets Nigeria, Kenya ports in Africa, expansion push. We're actively looking in East Africa for opportunities, Jacobson said. There is an ongoing tender process for the port of Mombasa, my hometown, where APM terminals have shown interest in operating 2 new berths in the Kenyan city. Africa is moving up the value chain, Jacobson said. People can now probably afford things they couldn't earlier on. Underlying sentiment is positive. You are still seeing quite healthy growth. Safaricom, coming to Kenya, targets higher earning Kenyans and data bundle growth. Let's see what they're saying. Safaricom is targeting data revenue growth from an online television service for the country's expanding middle class. Chief Executive Officer Bob Collymore said, Safaricom has applied for a broadcast license to use its big box, a digital TV set-top box, as a wireless hotspot that allows users to buy data bundles and download content onto TVs, Collymore said in an interview on Friday. That will create an alternative means of going online in a country where fixed-line internet connections are scarce. It's a data play, he said at the World Economic Forum in Cape Town. Today, my average user is using 100 megabytes of data a month, and we have to move from 100 megabytes to something that starts with a G, he said, referring to a larger gigabyte. Mobile phone companies in Kenya have been investing in internet-enabled device services as customers increasingly turn to smartphones, tablet computers rather than fixed-line broadband as a means of communication and mobile banking. Kenya's economy is expected to grow 6.9% this year. If you need to have a TV decoder, why don't you put a data bundle into that TV decoder? What Collymore said. Could you start to put some meaningful content on the box? Yes, you can. And for that, you will need a license to do it. And we're looking at other alternatives of getting some more specific content. If you haven't seen the interview I did with Bob after the full year results, please have a look actually, because we covered a lot of these points. Safaricom share price is up 14.59% so far this year, and considerably outperforming the all share in the NSE 20. Kenya shilling, there's a big MPC meeting today. I think they're going to hike 100 basis points. I'm not sure it's justified, frankly, when you look at the real economy, but I think that's what they're going to do. Nairobi all share closed at a 5-month low, and it's minus 0.22% so far this year. The Nairobi the Nairobi NSE 20 is down 6.869% and at a 23-month low. The shilling weakened on Monday, a day before the central bank holds its monetary policy committee meeting, which is today. The shilling is down 7.8% so far this year. The bear continues to maul the stock exchange. You can have a look at the commentary. Let me just whiz through it. Safaricom plus 14.59% so far this year. Scandrew plus 4.49%. It's down 17.67% this year, which is interesting. KCB announced that the KCB M-Pesa account has now registered 1.8 million customers, and the bank targets 10 million within the next 1 year. That's a bold call. I'm sure they'll do it. Equity Group is minus 6% in 2015, of course, recently announced its foray into the DRC. NSE, which has traded a total of 4.86% of its shares in the last 2 sessions. Of course, late Friday, Reuters reported that the Brazilian billionaire Jorge Paulo Lemann and his partners at 3G were considering a potential bid for Diageo. Diageo jumped 8.7% on Friday in New York, the biggest gain in 6.5 years. I haven't checked what happened yesterday. EABL is only plus 1.62% so far this year. There were 24 times more buyers at the close than shares traded yesterday. So I think it'll be interesting to watch and see what happens to EABL. I think there's plenty of upside. And finally, Kenya Power has been a bright spot, up 19.377% this year, and also outperforming the stock indices. Once again, thank you for stopping by. If you have time, come to Mindspeak, 5 o'clock, Sankara Hotel. Otherwise, come on Saturday. We've got Bob Godek at the Intercontinental Hotel. It's a very busy time of year for us. We missed a few earlier in the year. Looking forward to that. Thank you so much.